So our concentration was on how to insert the data as far as your particular tables are concerned. Whenever we are trying to work with different combinations of whether the data should be inserted into all the columns or it should be inserted into only few columns, that doesn't matter. But we just started getting some idea like how the data goes into your particular database server. But one thing you should understand, we are trying to insert the data from the command prompt. Okay, there's nothing with the SQL prompt. But in real time, this data actually comes from where? From the front-end interfaces. Means we design some kind of interface to the end user, and from that interface, the end user will start inserting the data. Be very clear about that. So no end user will utilize this SQL prompt. So SQL prompt is only for whom? Tell me now, the developers. SQL prompt is only for the sake of developers. Now we will design the SQL statement and we will test the SQL statement with the SQL prompt, and we'll give this SQL statement to the front-end developers, and the front-end developers will try to design a user interface screen, and in the user interface screen the end user is inserting the data and is pressing some button where that button can be for sake of submission of the data for a new record or anything, and then this SQL statement will be working definitely in the backend. Be very clear about that. Okay. So to communicate with the database, you need only which language? To communicate with the database, you need only which language? SQL. So no front-end technology, anything it could be in the world, manufactured by any particular company, by any technology, cannot directly communicate with the database. So database can communicate only with SQL. So whether you are developing the front-end technology using Java, or you are developing the front-end technology using PHP, you are developing the front-end technology using C#, you are developing the front-end technology using anything that is C++ or some XYZ in the world, these all technologies definitely should communicate with SQL. And SQL will only communicate with the criteria of the database. Try to understand this. Therefore, when front-end developers are designing the screens, there will be certain kinds of constructs now. What are they? Let us just consider one small issue. You are designing one screen for the sake of some employees registration. You are designing one screen for the sake of any students registration. In every particular screen what we develop, definitely there is a concept that some data will be entered by the end user, some data will be auto-generated by the system, and some amount of data will be auto-selected by the end user. Means either the data is auto-generated, or the data is manually entered, or the data will be auto-selected. These are the three options that are provided in the front-end aspect. Now, auto-selected, let us release it. Why we are not bothering with auto-selection? Why? Because that selection is an event done in the front-end, so we are not bothered about that. Typing the data is definitely the end user's job. Now, when he types the data comes to us. Because SQL developers should take the data from the front-end people, and then we have to post it now. So the data will come when they are typing it. The third kind of construct is some kind of data is auto-generated. Now when auto-generation of the data comes into the picture, there are two options here. Auto-generation of the data should be done by the database developers, or auto-generation of the data should be done by the front-end developers. There are two sides. Means client should generate the data, or the back-end database developer should generate the data. Which one should be followed is one of the question now. So if the client has to auto-generate the data, as a database developer I don't have any headache. Why? Because data should come after generation from the client only. So I should only take the data in the form of what? A value. If the data has to be generated by the backend, now in the backend the data should be generated in the middle layer, business tier, or it should be generated directly by the database tier. These are the two constructs that will arise now. If it is middle layer, as an Oracle developer I should be concerned. If any other database developers are there, they will not be concerned in that. So all database developers will be concerned with the fact when a data should be auto-generated only by the database side. Now, why Oracle developers should be concerned about even the middle layer? Because we are also PLSQL developers. So in PLSQL we will talk about those things. Now let us not worry about the middle layer. But imagine that as a concern of data that should be inserted, we should definitely generate the data from the backend only. We should definitely generate the data from the backend only. Then under such kind of circumstances, As a database developer, what options I have? Because until database does not provide those kind of options, we cannot do it. There are multiple different number of options. One or two options, what we can understand immediately, I am discussing. As we go mature, we will go on adding them. Be very clear about it. Now let us understand our table, what we have been using. Our table, what we have been using in the process. If suppose, like I said, describe students, I just want some answers from you. In these columns, can you tell me which particular columns you think that they should be definitely manually entered by the end user? First name and last name. Are you getting me? They are absolutely expected to be manually entered. Means they are values entered by the front end, means the end user, and they will come to us. So there we cannot have any control. Why? Because if any data has to be entered by the end user, what he should enter and how he should enter, what value he should enter, we cannot control because it's dynamics to the business. Okay. Which columns you think they should be auto-generated? Now, any column that is a key column, there is nothing but student number. It is better student number is auto-generated because no two students can contain same student ID. So that is definitely no doubt an auto-generated column. But currently, with our experience, we cannot do that. So such kind of things, what we cannot do currently, we will leave it to the time and we will wait for the maturity and we will start doing it. Be very clear about that. But that is one thing what we have to identify now. Second, any other columns which are auto-generated? Data joining. Data of joining is auto-generated or auto-selected? So you should be careful here now. Data of joining is definitely auto-generated, which is the current date and time that is running in the server. Means we should not give option to the end user to enter the data there. We should give only the option in such a way that he can see the data of joining automatically the moment he starts the screen. Connecting to the server, automatically the current date and time should come. Are you catching the point now? Anything you can say they are auto-selected. Gender is auto-selected. Means we prescribe some values and we'll tell please select one of the value. Yes or no? Anything else? Anything else? Date of birth is auto-selected. Give a calendar and tell him to make a selection from the calendar. Next, even fees can be auto-selected. Why? Because any organization could be having certain standard fees only. So clerk or end user should not enter the fees. Are you catching me? It is either auto-selected or auto-calculated. It could be auto-calculated also, depending upon the type of the course what the student is joining. Any other things now? So this column what we have kept is a column that is very interesting and important sometimes. Can you tell me what is the reason for that particular column? Security in which sense? In which sense you say it's a security? No. Who can enter the data? No, who can enter the data is a validation. But why that column is essential? It's a validation. Validation can be checked. We don't need to register it. So try to understand certain columns in your particular tables in real time. They could be out of the box columns. We call them as out of the box columns. Out of the box columns in the sense, these all columns are belonging to the business or they are not belonging to the business. Belong to the business. Every column is definitely describing to the requirement of the student only. Do you agree with me? But this column is to the business or outside the business? Outside the business. Actually that column is not part of the business. But that column has some importance as a analysis part of our application. Means by analysis, your analyst can add such kind of columns. We call such kind of columns in real time ERP implementations as who columns. Are you catching the point now? We call these kind of columns in reality of ERP as what? Who columns. Who columns means what? See, at the end of the day, your students are being joined in your collegement. Okay, I'm asking you, the student was registered by whom? Then you're not getting the clear details of who registered that student in your college. So, in the college, a student is registered by one of the staff member. Who is that staff member? I need to have certain people who are authorized to do that particular transaction. Now, suppose like a particular clerk is there who should take the responsibility of inserting the students into the database. If only one clerk is there, no problem. Because he is the only one person who will insert the data. If anything is illegal, I can go and ask him. But suppose like my application is a distributed application. When my application is a distributed application, there are many number of people who are having the authority for inserting the data. Then who inserted the data? Because I can't catch the fraud. If any fraud takes place, I cannot catch if I don't have the who column. So who columns are nothing but columns that will help in auditing the transactions that are happening in your business. In the background, silently they will be doing the job. End user will never know that. Only the developers who are developing the application, along with the architects who are architecting the application, analysts who are analyzing the application will know about these who columns. We don't tell about these who columns even to the end user. We don't tell him. If you tell to the end user, definitely it's not acceptable, because who wants auditing to be done? So, these kind of columns that are added into your table by the analysis that is done by the analyst, architect and the programmer, which are purely dedicated. These columns are dedicated only for the purpose of recording the details about the end user who is doing the transaction. Now, you may have one question now. Sir, if end user is not knowing about this particular column, then how the machine can take automatically the details of the end user? That is genuine. See, my computer cannot take my details automatically by itself when I don't tell. Second, when I come to know that my computer is monitoring me for every transaction, if I am doing a legal transaction, I am ready for it. If I am not doing a legal transaction, why I will expect my computer to know about me? Suppose that sincerely you are asking one particular person, please enter your name because you have done this insert. Imagine I am doing illegal transaction, I will enter. If I am not doing legal transaction, what I will do? XYZ ABC. Now, who is the XYZ ABC in my particular system now? So, no human being is paid by himself. Be very clear about that. Therefore, one of the questions that comes is, how computer knows exclusively who is doing this particular transaction? That's where certain personal information should be captured automatically by the computer whenever somebody gets connected. So, how this is possible? Are you trying to work on your database directly, or you are authenticating and then you are operating? Authenticating and you are operating. Through what? Through what? Username. Who is creating this username? DBA. So once one username has been created in your database, anybody can connect with that username only and then he can do the transactions. Do you agree with me? So, if I can make my column that is considered as who column to directly catch the username through which this transaction is happening, because username is under the control of database. Every user should get connected to the database. Without connecting to the database, nobody can do any kind of job. So, until you are disconnected, your user details are maintained by the database by the session. Do you agree with me? So, if I can tell my database that whenever some transaction is taking place, automatically collect the user details through the session that is available in the system. So, your system is getting automatically those details or not? Authentication is a very big aspect in the world. See, the trends of the world are changing. I am telling you, please get ready for the next generation world of computing sciences. In the next few years in the world, what happens now? Any authentication can be overruled. So, next few years, it's a statistical state of transactional research that by 2020 is a very wonderful state of year to experience for IT people, I am telling you. Why? Because we have kept some targets throughout the world in year 2000 itself, and we have made some visionary decisions that By 2020, we should make the world to look like this. It's going to happen or not is a secondary state, but 60% of the people in the world are working for that vision definitely since last 20 years. So the main concept behind this, one of the concepts behind this is every human being in the world should have a unique identity when he comes into the process of the transactional state of the business for anything in the world. For anything in the world. A unique identified transactional state should be available for human beings. This is one of the biggest projects in the world. With all these criteria, only much lot of things are happening. By 2030, there are certain targets that are set. By 2050, it's totally going to be a different kind of world that what the next generations will see. In that, one of the concepts is my device should recognize me the moment I am in the nearest vicinity of it by my biometric evidences. That's what is the world of machine learning. That's what is the world of machine learning. Means if I am using this computer every day, at 7 o'clock if I start this computer after some amount of time should become intelligent by its neural state of analysis that at 7 this computer will be operated by Mr. Satish only. And then only if I am sitting here it should open, else it should not open. Unbelievable compositions I'm telling you. That's the reason you watch. The world is moving very serious in authenticated standard. For all these projects, we need Java developers, we need database developers. Be happy you are one of the database developers, but you will participate in which projects to the next generation. I will leave you from this class, but your destiny is where? That's your choice. So, the next generation criteria in data management are beyond our imaginations. Biometric evidences are really something different to really think of, I'm telling you. Today on that concept only what's happening when anybody expected that a fingerprint scanning can be the authentication for your mobile phones? What is happening today? And technologically anybody expected that your photograph will be an authentication for opening your laptop? What is happening today? Spatial authentication systems. Means we are very nearest to the biometric evidences now. The world is believing that every human being will be having some level of criterial induction with respect to his own biological states. If we can devise that kind of sensors, the moment I come nearer to my machine, activated by that sensor, it can definitely smell me and it will understand I am Satish. The moment I pull my keyboard, it never asks me, please enter your username and password because it has already recognized me. Imagine the who columns at the process of thought in analysis. I'm just talking about who column as a criteria, but its analysis is too deep by its implementation, I'm telling you. Today you do any transaction from your mobile phone. How many times you know every detail of yours is already there with Indian government? Definitely by 2018 ending, you touch your mobile phone, Indian government will know about that. You go anywhere in the world, anywhere in India, in any corner, your latitude, longitude, where you are, there will be known to the Indian government. This is what is just going to happen with 4G. Do you think the Reliance is foolish to ask your Aadhaar card numbers for sake of making a mobile transaction? People are so crazy, I am seeing like anything nowadays. Book your movie ticket, mobile phone. Book your train ticket, mobile phone. Book anything, mobile phone. How many movies in a year, in which theater, for what movie you have attended with how many number of people and what seat you have basically registered, whether it was food based or non-food based, everything will be with Indian government. One gentleman is seeing absolutely 10 movies in a year along with his family. Means average 4 members in your family, let us say. Definitely it's 1,000 rupees bill now. 1,000 into 10 movies. 10,000 rupees is spending only for entertainment at the end of the year. Means this particular person's pocket is containing how much more money now. But 10,000 is only movies in your life. So definitely to go to the movie, 1000 rupees. You're traveling in what now? You're traveling in car or you're not traveling in your car? The moment you took your mobile phone, went into your vehicle, Indian government's next proposal is all the automobiles sold in India should be RFID tagged. The moment you get into it, it's going to have a unique RFID linked to your Aadhaar card number. You are into your particular car. Car's RFID with your particular mobile phone, GPS with your Aadhaar card is syncing. Guy traveling in the car now. Okay, he's having car. Contact the car manufacturer now. What is the car? Honda City Classic. Okay. Traveling in which road? GPS is tracked now. Traveling regularly on Banjara Hills road only. बहुत बड़ा है. You just get into any particular coffee shop over there and you're having your coffee. With your anxietiness, you have activated your Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi activated in which location of the particular? In Banjara Hills coffee. Roadside coffee 6 rupees, Banjara Hills 250 rupees. बहुत पैसा है. Understand the who columns concept. It will look like a joke for us. We are going to make a transformation of the world very soon. So, these who columns will be auto-generated. They are just auto-generated. You can't miss your transaction. Sir, I just don't want to fall in this kind of world. Go to a country where internet, Wi-Fi is not there. Okay, that's the only way you can stay now. No other way. Any country you go, you have internet. Finish. You are in the system. Known very perfectly. You cannot escape. You cannot escape. Why? Because we are tagged. There is no privacy for the human beings anymore. So, these kind of columns are called as who columns, which will tell about the transaction with every detail. Every detail will be there in the transaction. I've taken only one column there. So next generation ERPs that are being developed into the systems are very different. People are crazy about cloud. Yes, the next world is cloud based, no doubt. But what happens with cloud? Nothing of your data is yours. Nothing of your data is yours. Be very, very sure about it. Why? Because the moment you enter into the cloud, your total personal details are adapted from where you are connecting, and then only the cloud will give you the service. All your business data processed into the cloud. Even in million transactions, triggers can be set and they are left. Automatically dashboards will show what is happening in the trend of the pattern of the people. There are very different kind of things you should understand. I don't want to go into all the particular mess of analytics, what the world is about to move with. But you should understand, you people are the fundamental foundation for any intelligent analytics that can happen in the world. Because if database developers are not there, no analytics can be applied in the world. So, we are the first level platform for creating the base for intelligent analytics. Therefore, when we are creating the tables, are we creating the tables with the sense of the reality? Every student can create a table, but I am not interested in that. Are you creating a table that has a real-time flavor for implementation? Be very serious in catching every statement. Before I am starting with special values, inserting special values in the table, that introduction is essential for us. In 2 minutes I can tell you that sysdate is one function in Oracle that will return the current date and time. Why I should have current date and time? So any transaction in business is definitely measured on the calendar. If I don't track my current date and time, fraud can be conducted. One simple thing. Suppose like we are designing this table for the purpose of registering the students into academics. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Yes. Now let us take one small scenario, man. Once the table is created, front end is created, somebody is entering the data. So within my college, university, 3 clerks are given responsibility for registering the students for admission. Means only these 3 clerks can enter the data, no other person can enter the data. Do you agree with me? Yes. Now imagine that there is one course for which admission counseling was started. Rank wise, the students are being called for the sake of admission, And when this admission process is taking place, what happened is, there is one student who was eligible for the sake of admission, but he didn't attend the admission process. Now the student has lost the admission to that particular academic year or not? Yes or no? Yes. Now admissions are closed at a particular time now, but they have identified that there are 250 seats that are not filled in that academic year with respect to that course. Now once the admission date is closed, can I fill those seats that are vacant after that? No. By legality, definitely not. Now technically, let us imagine one student who was eligible for admission, he didn't attend to the counseling process. Later on, after the admission time is completed, he came to one conclusion that let me get admitted into my course now, rather than wasting my time. He came to the university, caught one of these three clerks. All three in the world will not be idiots, but one guy will be ready to do the illegal job. So he caught that guy and he said like, you just keep your hand under the bench, I will also keep the hand under the bench, let us shake our hands now. Now after that he got into the admission process. Now when he is trying to do the admission process, admission date is very important, yes or no? Now will this clerk will enter the admission date of today, or he will enter the admission date of past? Past. Any intelligent person who is doing fraud will do that only. Then what is your beauty of your database, tell me? Means, do you think that your database is only for collecting the data, not validating and authorizing the data? Then who needs it? Now imagine that as a database developer, I kept the column where data of joining is implemented attached with sysdate. Internally, I did in such a way that the data of admission can be only done with sysdate, nobody can enter that. Then this clerk wants to do the fraud now. Will my database allow him to do the fraud? No way. My database will take which date? Current date. In the middle layer, I will write one logic. The logic is, if the current date of admission is less than or equal to last date of the admission, then only accept the insert. If the current date of the admission is more than the last date of admission prescribed by the university, reject the admission. So automatically my data is becoming more practical to be non-fraudulent or not. For such kind of thinking, we need some special kind of functions and some special kind of logical standards. Therefore, database doesn't mean that we will insert, we will create. It is a facility provided, but how best you apply that particular facility? These are very important things I am telling you. I don't want to go into the history because it will be too old for you to listen also, I am telling you. The day when we got our independence to the day when we kept computers into our government departments, if you take the historical analysis, people who say that we are not developing, you'll understand how we started changing. Because our generation has seen non-computerized systems. We saw computers developing into the system, and we are also seeing the development that is done through the computers in the system. Your generation is only seeing the development. You have not seen the remaining two phases. In government offices of India, I will give you only one simple reference. In government offices of India, there is one facility called as Leave Travel Concession, LTC, where any government employee at a specific level of his designation can avail this LTC. 2 years once, government will give him some amount of money for just going on vacation and then enjoying and coming back. And if he submits these bills within some amount of limit, the bill will be returned. This LTC was misused by Indian government employees in order of crores, in order of thousands of crores, I can tell you. I personally know people who want to claim this LTC. They used to be in touch with the railway employees, those ticket collectors who will be standing at the gate. Actually, those guys, what they should do is collect the tickets who have come from the passengers, tie those tickets and submit those tickets once again to the station. See, you took a ticket from Secunderabad and you want to go up to, suppose say like Visakhapatnam, then your ticket was taken here and it's going where? Visakhapatnam. Now you travel to Visakhapatnam or not, how anybody knows? No. The rule is, when the train goes into that station, the ticket collector should collect the ticket of Visakhapatnam. It is kept like Secunderabad to Visakhapatnam. What he should do is, he should tag all those tickets by numbers, and he has to make one report on that and send all these tickets to Secunderabad once again. Where Secunderabad should have an audit that passengers who took these tickets, they really went to Visakhapatnam. So the passenger has never misused the ticket. Actually, this ticket should reach the destination once again. From here they went, they should come back here and an audit would be settled. Do you know 90% of the tickets never used to return? Sir, auditing couldn't catch. Manual auditing, how many millions of tickets will audit in a single day? Tell me. No human being can do. There was a special department for that. But the department used to sit in the chair, that's all. Eat in a super way and start building a body. Now in this process, you cannot even imagine the fraud that could have taken place. I don't want to get into all those details now. Because when we design systems, these are the things we used to tell the Indian government, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, and the things have been settled now. Today, in commercial section of Indian Railways, only 20% fraud is left over, 80% is closed. You need to understand. So these kind of systems when we develop, we will close the patch holes of the fraud of the systems and see that the system goes very perfect. So in this construct, these LTC employees, they used to go and collect these tickets from whom? The ticket collector or the passengers. A passenger traveled from Secunderabad to Visakhapatnam. I am staying in Visakhapatnam. So I will never try to come back to Visakhapatnam until I went out of Visakhapatnam. So very wonderful planning Indians will do. This guy used to go and apply for leave. He knows that he is applying for leave now. Leave is sanctioned. For which purpose? LTC. So you should come back and give all the tickets now, else you'll never get the money. So these guys, they used to collect the ticket. 15 days on the leave, he will go to the station. And technically, he'll catch one particular guy who is traveling from Visakhapatnam to Secunderabad. And he'll say like, when you'll return back from there, so and so day. Just please keep your ticket very careful. After you return back, you give me the Visakhapatnam to Secunderabad ticket. De dena mujhe. So you went. You did not go, you went. And then I am leaving for 1 week now. So after 1 week I should come back to once again Visakhapatnam. So after 1 week go now. Stand in front of the gate and say, Tera ticket mujhe de de. Q. Then I want to do something. XYZ story we can tell, no? And today the story is more easy also. My children have a project work in the school. Anybody will give. Okay? Because today all schools are doing project work somewhere. So they get 2 tickets came. This is what you can understand. In this way they used to catch all the LTC. Now whenever I am working now with these kind of columns that will do the job automatically in the computer, where is the chance? We people build nations. Remember that, okay? We people build the economy of the world. Because if good database developer is there, his plan and action will make the system to come very perfect. Because I know sysdate is not important. Where you can apply sysdate? Sysdate definition is very simple. Be very clear. Sysdate, it returns the current date and time. That's all. But why I should return current date and time? Any business transaction that is being done, the transactional data should be registered the current date and time only, atomically, so that I will know this transaction on this particular ID for this particular person, for this particular business process happened at this date and time. So is there any chance of fraud that can take place now? No chance. The same way, who did the transaction? If suppose you are giving on screen and telling that please enter your name before you submit the transaction, who will enter them? Nobody will enter. So there is one function called as user. What is this user function? Can you work in Oracle without connecting to Oracle? No. So you are giving a username compulsorily. So once you call this user function, what it does is, it will capture the username with which you are connected to the database and then puts that username there. Now once that username is kept, definitely the transaction is done by that user only, nobody else. Now if somebody is saying that no, I did not do, I gave you one username, I gave you one password. Now only you can get connected to that user. Without you getting connected to that user, how that information came? No sir, somebody entered into my system. Who told you to share your password with somebody? Tell that particular person's name now. First level I will tell you. First level RTA departments in AP, in select combined state. You cannot even imagine when RTA departments were computerized for all the registration of vehicles and everything. For 1 year, every month the network of the RTA was failing. Why? Because if computers are working, fraud cannot be done. So employees are doing the fraud around secondary. These brokers who will be there, their life is gone. So every month the computers will fail. Why they will fail? They don't know the technology. So finally, I don't want to talk about the companies. The companies that did the project, they were getting worried. This never happened in any country for us. Why is it happening in our country only? Then they started understanding. They found that people used to either tamper the hard disk, or they used to tamper the LAN cable, or they used to tamper XYZ. Something should not work. That's all. If server is not working, nothing will work. Once again, manually we can do. And there were cases like every month the company used to go and repair it and say that theek ho gaya chalo. And these people, they thought like if you damage it, they are quickly repairing it. So we should damage in such a way that repair can never happen now. That's the main target now. You know what they did? Took the LAN cable that carries the LAN information to the systems, and you know how much small voltage it has. They took the LAN cable and they made the cable to be connected to 250 volts. Once it's connected to 250 volts, total LAN board, motherboard, hard disk, everything went away. And government's cost in that particular budget was so huge, they have to wait for the next budget meeting in the assembly. 1 year, computer काम नहीं करेगा, पैसे कमाओ. This was the type of system we people have seen. I'm telling you, unbelievable. So who did that? That reason today everything is not concealed. कुछ भी नहीं दिखेगा बाहर. Because when you see that, then only you will do the problem. No. From there we went to what now? LAN cable, if it is there, then only they will connect. So Bluetooth based. Don't even show where the LAN cable is there. So Wi-Fi based. Keep the computer anywhere, it will be working automatically. So that they don't know how it is working. These are the things. Today, because of these kind of databases that are developed, 90% of the fraud in RTA departments have been closed. 10% is there. We'll patch it up, definitely, no doubt. So these kind of things will tell what happens. And this, supposedly the employee said like, I can't do. The brokers only used to take the username and password and they used to do it by themselves. Transaction I will only do, you don't do. I will only do. At the end of the year when audit was taken, some usernames were not usernames that are belonging to employees itself. Who created? They caught the database administrator and told him that where are we user bana de. Because if it is bana de, from anywhere I can sit and connect and I can work now. Today, how we are centrally closing all these issues, you just imagine, because of these functions what we push down. You do transaction from anywhere, we can catch. The world of databases is not tables when the way we build the tables, the way we will implement these tables. Therefore, you watch, in the last 2 classes we were inserting the data, but what a kind of fraud, because we don't know what we are doing. But the first transaction we did, I gave the name. It is very much wrong to give the name like that. But the next 2 transactions, there is no information about who inserted. Can you expect this kind of data to be accepted in real time? No way. This kind of data is called as ambiguous data for data transactions. And the same way, data of joining. We are giving some dates like this, but we are doing the transaction today. And how is it you can collect the data like this? Certain things, if we start speaking, it makes a big lot of difference in understanding how technology should really come up to make the things happen. You can't even imagine. So, the manual process that really encourages the rule of the fraud and illegality of the system can be totally closed once it becomes digitalized. That's the reason we build databases. Databases are not only for data management, but consistent and qualitative data management. You need to understand that. So, when you make your system to be very perfect by its nature, then you have to plan everything at the time of creating the table itself. You planned this column at the time of creating the table, but did you follow that column seriously? No. So, creating table is not just important. When you're operating, you have to operate also with the same consistency. Therefore, table creation takes only which part? Design level responsibilities. But operational level responsibilities are to be fixed by whom? The programmers. So now today watch what we are doing in insert now. Today also we will insert the data, but you watch today, I am going with my construct of data like this yesterday. Till yesterday we were giving the dates like this, yes or no? But today you just watch, when I am working with my construct, I am saying sysdate. I am definitely saying that data of joining is sysdate. Sysdate is one function designed by Oracle. Whenever you call this function, it goes and contacts your database server. On the server, whichever date and time is running, the date and the current latest time will be registered automatically. The same way, insert by. I kept my column called as insert by, but am I giving my name or am I calling my function now? Calling the function. So, any number of people who are connected to my Oracle database who are having permissions on this table, they will definitely enter their username and password and they'll be working, yes or no? While they are connected in the database, at that time of connectivity, if they do any transaction to my table, their name of the user automatically comes. There are certain statistics I'll tell you, which will be disturbing as I'm telling you, because database developers should know what the systems are doing. You know one thing, 1985, if I'm remembering very properly, the first scam in Indian banking systems has come out, first time. That was actually banks along with the share trading scam, that was Harshad Mehta scam. I don't know whether you have an idea or not. That was first one, but prior to that also many scams are there, but people doesn't know about it. Only government knows about it. They have hidden those files. They never made those files to come out. But Harshad Mehta scam was the first scam that came out because Indian Express actively participated and exposed it. Media was becoming almost irrelevant, and I think it's 1 year after Indians started looking into television for the first time. 84, if I remember properly, television came into India. And 85 or 86 somewhere, this scam details came out. At that time, people were much worried when some 5,000 crore scam. Indians thought like, oh God. But 5,000 crores in 5 is equivalent to anything I can say today in the ratio of calculations is equal to anything around some 25,000 or 30,000 crores of equivalent value. Okay, what happened? Let me not get into that story. Harshad Mehta was got asked, where did you keep the money? He said, like, मेरे पास नहीं है. कहाँ गया? पता नहीं है. किसके पास गया? पता नहीं है. ठीक है, तू जेल में चले जा. He went in. So he was safe in jail. He is safe in jail. He is in jail only. People are safe. Else nobody will be safe. All politicians said, तो jail में जाके रह जा. So he went in. From there, if you calculate also your statistics very clear in the internet. Indians have not conducted all these statistical researches. Many number of foreign countries came and did these statistical analytics. They have taken total money of scam from there till the recent what we have in our Indian, if you take it. The total amount of money, do you know how much it is? World is worried. World is worried, not we. It is the total amount of budget with which India can survive without printing the currency once again, and no Indian needs to 300 years. Indians can आराम से बैठ के खा सकते हैं for 300 years. Just imagine, okay? If you take that money, if Indian government takes that scam out money and it start distributing it, an average Indian can be given 100 crores. For every Indian, 100 crores. Muft mein le lo. We are not poor nation, okay? We are made to be look like that. European countries have special parliament sessions on this, okay? They have special parliament sessions, how this much fraud can be done in one government sector. Because they are breaking their heads, hum log kyun nahi kar pa rahe hain? They want to do that. There is a special parliament session in Britain's parliament. This was a debate. It was a debate between the senators of Britain Parliament, how Indians can do this, why we are unable to do that. And they only told Indians that this much of money is, they said like, one statement given by one of the senators is, if Indians have so much of money to do only fraud, originally how much they have? Just imagine. Only for fraud we have such a lot of money, man. Scam is so much. Imagine how much originally we have. No. Nobody knows that calculation. These are all things if we have to stop. System needs digitalization. Be very clear. See, other countries are not good men. They are controlled tightly by computers. Every government transaction is computerized. You need to understand that. So, when we design databases, our intentional state of designing database is not table creation, okay? Planning all this and do it means how I can make the system become 100% consistent. 100% consistent. So, when you come into the system of databases, are you keeping that in the mind and coming or not? See, I want to become a database developer. You can, but which type of systems you want to develop as a database developer? So here I can write an insert statement. Who says you can't write insert statement after 2 days? But why you are writing one insert statement is very important. Are you catching the point now? That concept is important for me. That statement is not important for me. Because when you go and attempt your interviews and you participate in the projects, you are definitely a student who is very different than the other people only because you can speak on the concept, not on the syntax. Because by syntax everybody will speak. So the main vision behind conducting our course is not to learn Oracle. Can we implement Oracle? Can we implement Oracle? Today you watch when I am inserting that particular piece of the data, it came automatically by my username. And in the same way you can just write without joining. It is 7th December 17. So I think some fields I am controlling definitely. We are unable to control this because we are not mature to do that currently. Leave it on my shoulders. I will take care of the job. So when we start inserting the data, are we planning the inserts in such a way that every insert has a meaningful state for its implementation? So if this table is shared by multiple different number of users, what happens? Nothing. Whichever user is using, that user's name will come here automatically. You don't need to worry about that. So if suppose two people are connecting to the same table with the same username called as Scott, what happens now? Yes, two people can connect with Scott now. Then both are working with a username called as what? Scott. So what name will come here? Scott only will come. Then which Scott did the fraud? Who column is not only one column. And in real time we add many columns. We can take IP number. We can catch the MAC address. We can definitely catch the version of the operating system to which he is operating. These all things can be added. So both the people can be working with same Scott user, but they are not working with the same machine. MAC number definitely changes. MAC number is always tagged to IP number. IP number is tagged to the ISP provider. The ISP provider will be tagged to his port number and the switch. All these things if I analyze, that user is from where? Nothing is impossible in digital world to capture any transaction for its consistency. Are you catching the point now? In classrooms we may not be so serious about all the constructs. Imagine I am having two kinds of verifications. One is the database level user verification. The next is, before you connect to this machine, you have to give your thumb impression and you have to connect now. I'm even taking what now? Biometric evidence. Now whenever I'm sending the data, I'll send the username plus biometric evidence, both together into my table. Immediately caught. Some small things I'll tell you. Initially there was one complaint on try that somebody is taking a mobile number without my notice on my details. This was happening in initial stages, and try really got confused like how this is happening. Then technically they did what recently? They kept the biometric evidence now. Means you have to give your thumb impression along with your personal details through Aadhaar, then only it can happen. Now you gave the thumb impression, that's your problem. Somebody is asking you a thumb impression, then you should definitely understand why he is asking you and check the evidence and give it. And that thumb impression can be used only once for that particular purpose. After that, second time he cannot use it because the digital signature is never known to this guy who is operating it. Even today, consistent management of the data is a very big research. At the level of its research, it's happening. At the level of the developer, we are doing it. Both are definitely going to be coordinative in the industry once we go. So, these functions technically are very simple, but their application is what you have to understand at these levels. So, why I am trying to stress this single point is, throughout the course when we are learning, we will put focus to this kind of thinking only, not the statement level thinking. Because statements at this age, I don't need to teach you. But application to that statement and its implications is what you have to understand. That's what I was saying in one of the class. Are we learning Oracle or are we trying to experience Oracle? So check out, okay? Now that is your choice, not my choice. Sir, if you want to learn only Oracle, definitely I don't think I need to speak all the out of the box things that are essential. So if you want to experience Oracle, you should have patience to understand not just Oracle, the way it is applied. That evidence of application is there in your brain. Once you go into the industry, you are keeping 5 years experience, it doesn't matter. When with the people are already working in the company, happily you will start working with them because you have that way of thinking before you went into the industry. So the special functions will introduce again and again whenever the need arises, but this much of discussion I'll never give you late form. Are you catching the point? Now be very clear. Now, we created tables, we inserted the data for which purpose? Test purpose. Test data, yes or no? Now one insert statement can insert only one record or many records? Only one record. One insert can insert only one record. Now I have to insert 100 test records. What I have to do? 100 times I should write the insert statement. The most unwanted job, I think so. Because total insert statement is not changing, only values are changing. For the values that are changing, why I should write my whole insert statement, which is waste of time? That's first thing. Second thing, every SQL statement after executed, where it is? Every SQL statement after it is executed, where it is? Check your answers very carefully, okay? I am asking you where your SQL statement is existing. I did not ask you where your data is existing. This is the same mistake you will do in your interview rooms. Be careful, okay? Generally students ask me, sir, why I will lose my interview? You will lose interview because of this only. These are some things which are very clear proof. I am asking where your SQL statement is existing after it is executed. SQL buffer. Don't give answers with anxiety. Are you catching the point now? You do this mistake in front of me, it's not a problem, man. Keeping 3+ years experience, you do that mistake, you'll immediately understand Samir Pet se aage aa. So be careful in listening to your interviewer. Data will be in rollback segment area, statement will be in the buffer. Now, can I use this statement once again? Can I use this SQL statement in the buffer once again? Yes, by using what? /. If I put /, the same statement will run. Do you agree with me? But the problem is what? I have written one insert statement. Insert statement executed. Values went into rollback segment area. Statement is in the buffer. Now I'm putting forward slash. What happens? Statement will run. What is the problem? Same record will go to the buffer once again. I've run the SQL statement once again. Same record will go to the SQL buffer once again. I'm interested in the same record or different records now? Different record. So what I'm interested now? My interest is statement should go to the buffer. Values should go to the rollback segment area. When I run my statement once again, statement should run but not with the same values. Statement should run but should not take the same values, but instead it should ask me, give me the new values. But SQL is interactive or non-interactive? Non-interactive. Interactive means it should have programming like behavior. Please enter the value. That is possible only when you are having a compilation oriented environment. But SQL is a compiler environment, a non-compiler environment. Uncompiled. Here we are executing the statements, we are not compiling the statements. But Oracle is a very wonderful concept in these areas. Oracle introduces one concept called as supplying the data at runtime. See why Oracle is famous. It has every facility what a good developer expects without writing any extra programming. That's where it is famous. So Oracle has one facility to supply the data at runtime according to each time you run the same SQL statement. You run the SQL statement, the data will not be the same. It will ask you data at runtime. To take the data at runtime, Oracle will always provide you a facility called as substitution variables. We have a concept called as substitution variables, where these variables are nothing but which are stored temporarily in your SQL buffer along with your values. Values are also temporary. Once you apply substitution variables and run your SQL statement will take the values what you give, sends the values to rollback segment area and sends a statement to the SQL buffer along with the substitution variable. Means variable will go into the buffer, value goes to the rollback segment area. Now I'm running my statement once again. What happens now? The variable will ask me the value. I will give the values now. Once values are given, it's completed. Then where the values are going? To the rollback segment area. Where the statement is going? To the SQL buffer along with variables. You run the statement once again. What it will do now? Statement will run asking the value for the variable. Once you give all the values will go to the rollback segment area. Statement goes to the buffer. Exactly behaving like some compilation environments. So, any developer, substitution variables are not difficult, man. But if you do not have knowledge to the substitution variables, immediately no great problems will arise. But 40% of the things what I do in advanced levels of Oracle, you will not catch so easily. So here itself I want you to understand substitution variables very effectively. There are two kinds of substitution variables. One is single ampersand substitution variable because we use one single ampersand to represent. Double ampersand substitution variables because we use double ampersand, two ampersands for sake of representation. There is a small difference between single ampersand and double ampersand. First time beginners, definitely you may have some kind of unwanted logical pressure when I am discussing the substitution variables for the first time. Because you may not be a programmer previously, therefore the pressure starts. But once you can start practicing with one or two implementations, it will be easy for you. But before that, every single point I am speaking in the class, thoroughly you should concentrate. See, I can say one thing very clearly. Majority of the students sitting in my classes will be thinking of keeping experience and getting into the industries. I am point by point making it more detailed only for those people, because you said you have been working in projects and then you are taking a job. I don't feel that you don't know SQL. My only doubt is, do you have experience in SQL? To speak that experience only, that out of the box discussions what I am giving you, you need them. Remember that. And for all the freshers, I don't think I am going too fast in my implementation. I am very slow. I consciously know that. But this speed is only to see that you are feeling comfortable to catch the confidence that you can start learning Oracle. But it will go only for few days like this. After I feel my fundamentals are completed, I'll pick up my speed definitely. So I'm controlling my pace and my mechanism of discussion only to keep you into the convenience. Actually, this much of speed and slow is definitely not advantage for me. Remember that. But finally the goal is, once I close this course, can you keep your resume and make your first interview last interview? That's the main goal. So for that, I'll definitely keep myself in controlled pace. Just come along with me. Please don't stop practicing. Even if it is one example I told you, you have to practice on that day only. General human being's tendency will be one example only. Tomorrow I'll make it happen. Today's confusion will be today only, even if you practice a single example. Don't keep this today's confusion for tomorrow as an addition, because tomorrow pressure will be different. So please be on the process. Tomorrow by the time I deal with you in substitution variables. How many are freshers in this particular class? Can I just have your hands? If you are 2015, 2016 passed outs, 2016, 2017 passed outs, we can pass your resumes to us. There's a company that is in reference for the freshers for recruitment. Now actually that's a database company. Your database is not completed, so don't need to worry about it. You need to be very strong in aptitude and arithmetic. If you can keep yourself very strong in aptitude and arithmetic, please pass on your resumes. Most probably by December 18th, they may have a written examination and a call for you. I'm forwarding the second set of resumes of my students because I had a call from them yesterday. Only one set we have sent. So this is like Sadish, we are just thinking of conducting the exam by December 18th. If you have any other set of resumes, you can pass. I don't recommend anybody, man. I only push the reference. After that, you have to struggle. You have to get your jobs. So if you think you are fit for it, and you can practice in next 10 days very seriously, arithmetics and reasoning and all these things seriously, and fundamental SQL. If you're an IT guy coming from your colleges, you know fundamental SQL also it's enough. But be very sure, after a written is completed, they have definitely a face-to-face interview with group discussion. Should be technically too good to speak your English with confidence. You feel you are eligible for all these things, you can pass your resumes to us. So the mail ID is info@skyesmail.com. If you can send the resume by today afternoon, it's better. And it's only for my students. If any of your friends are there elsewhere, don't send them. Okay? Because I don't believe in the professionalism of any other student from other than my class. Because when my students are sitting in my class, I know they have some attitude. Only those people I will refer. So he is my brother and sister. No, don't send. Okay? I can believe you. I cannot believe your brother and sisters. Very clear about that. Okay? I may be looking harsh, but it's a fact. Because when I am sending my resumes, they have some evidence that if it is coming from Satish, this will be at this level. And this object has this kind of attitude. I cannot send somebody who can damage my total identification that I have with those people on the other side. So just send that by today afternoon so that I will shortlist and then I will push them by evening. Okay? And be in your preparation. Don't say like, sir, मैं कुछ भी prepare नहीं करा, कैसा भी अंदर हटा दो, बाहर खींचूंगा, अंदर नहीं हटाऊंगा. Okay? So remember that. So you should first understand me. Okay? Sir, can I come and speak with you for any other things? Nothing. Nothing. Okay? Anything above the rule will not happen in my system. So be clear. And I give a reference. Nobody will ever dare to speak with you about the system also. Only then I will give you the reference. If anybody is saying that you are selected, aisa vaisa karo, aisa karenge, nothing you should do like that. If such thing is there, you should definitely come and tell me. 100% I find a person who doesn't go into such kind of mess. We can't say. This is a world where you can't believe the people. If anything of such sort is there, you don't get into any kind of such contracts. I'm telling you, because that contract is a fraud. I'm telling you personally from my side. You go out of the box and you do it, that's your personal aspect. I don't want to keep my head into that. So don't encourage anything out of the system. Thank you once again. Tomorrow with you. టూ 2014 కి ప్రెసెంట్లీ అయితే కొంచెం లేవండి అనుకుంటాను. కొన్ని కంపెనీస్ ఉన్నాయి, వాళ్ళు అడుగుతారు, వాళ్ళు ఏమంటారంటే తీసుకుంటామన్నారు. సో ప్రెషర్ అంటే మంచి కంపెనీ అయినా కూడా అరౌండ్ 22 to 24 స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఆలోచించుకోవాలి మీరు కూడా, ఎందుకంటే ప్రూవ్ చేసుకుంటే దీన్ని ఇమీడియట్లీ కీప్ ఇట్ ద ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ లెవెల్. మీరు ఒక 1 year వర్క్ చేసి వాళ్ళు లుకింగ్ కూడా అనుకోండి, వాళ్ళు కూడా మిమ్మల్ని ఆ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ లెవెల్ తీసేసుకుంటారు. ఫస్ట్ మాత్రం రిలీజ్ చేయలేదు. అలాంటి రిఫరెన్స్ అయితే నా దగ్గర కరెంట్లీ ఏమీ లేవు. అంటే నేను చాలా మంది స్టూడెంట్స్ ఉంటారు, అడుగుతూ ఉంటారు, బట్ అవి చాలా రేర్గా వస్తాయన్నమాట. ఏదైనా వచ్చిందంటే చెప్పండి. 2000 డిగ్రేడ్ అవుతుంది, ఎందుకంటే నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ కానీ డేటాబేస్ ద్వారా జనరేట్ అయిన దానికి కన్సిస్టెన్సీ, క్లయింట్ ద్వారా జనరేట్ చేసిన దానికి పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ బాగుంటుంది. ఎందుకంటే ఎనీథింగ్ దట్ ఇస్ డన్ ఫ్రమ్ ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ వాడు ఏం చేస్తున్నారు, నెట్ వాల్యూ ఇవ్వాలంటే డేటాబేస్ తెచ్చుకొని +1 చేస్తారు. సో ఇక్కడ సపోజ్ 9 o'clock కనెక్ట్ అయ్యారు, మ్యాక్సిమం వాల్యూ 1000 ఉంది, తెచ్చుకొని దాన్ని +1 చేసుకొని 1001 వేస్తున్నాడు. ఇతను ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ కంప్లీట్ చేసేటప్పుడు సపోజ్ 9:15 అవుతుంది, కానీ 9:05 ఇంకొకటి వెళ్ళాడు, అప్పుడు వాడికి కూడా ఎంత కనబడింది, 1000 కనబడుతుంది. వాడు 1001 జనరేట్ చేస్తాడు. చేసిన తర్వాత ఏం చేస్తాడు, ఇద్దరు పోస్ట్ చేస్తారు. సపోజ్ ఫస్ట్ తీసుకున్నాడు ఆల్రెడీ 1000 పోస్ట్ చేసుకున్నాడు, కానీ మీకు 9:15 వెళ్తాం. కానీ సెకండ్ తీసుకున్న వాడికి 1000 తీసుకున్నాడు, +1 యాడ్ చేశాడు, పోస్ట్ చేసి దాన్ని 9:10 అనుకున్నాడు, వాళ్ళు కమిట్ అయిపోయింది. ఇప్పుడు వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే అక్కడ వాల్యూ 1001 ఉంది కాబట్టి చెప్తారు డేటా ఆల్రెడీ. అందుకనే జనరల్ ఏంటంటే ఎక్కడి నుంచి చేయాలంటే క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే మన ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ కూడా ప్లాన్ చేసుకుని చేయాలి. సో ప్లాన్ చేసుకుని చేయాలంటే ఏం చేయాలి, ఎప్పుడు కూడా ఐటీ ఫస్ట్ జనరేట్, ఏ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ చేయాలంటే ఐటీ లాస్ట్ జనరేట్. ఎట్లా మొత్తం వ్యాలిడేషన్ కంప్లీట్ చేసుకొని డేటా రెడీగా ఉంది, డేటాబేస్ ఉంటున్నప్పుడు అప్పటికప్పుడు వెళ్ళి డేటా తెచ్చుకొని ఈ డేటాని రిటర్న్ చేస్తారు. రిటర్న్ చేసి 1000 ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ చేసిన తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ తీసుకుంటారు. నెక్స్ట్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఇక్కడ కూడా ఇంటర్నెట్ బ్యాంకింగ్ ఆన్లైన్ వేరే ఛాన్స్ పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ తగ్గిన పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ ట్యాంక్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ ఫస్ట్ ఇప్పుడు నాకు ఒక లోడ్ ఆఫ్ 200 క్యాష్ జనరేట్ చేయాలి. క్యాష్ లో వచ్చే డేటా ఇస్తుంది, ఇచ్చిన క్యాష్ వాల్యూని మనం మళ్ళీ రిటర్న్ తీసుకుంటాం. ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ రిటర్న్ చేయడం ఉండదు, ఆ వాల్యూ వేస్ట్. ఓవరాల్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ ప్లాన్ చేసుకోవాలి.
For every transaction, when you conduct the index update, the transaction complete index approval lock in. So that was the transaction type very good. We change the prati value index to specify so validation table is the index. So we have a trillion records in our index. Trillion records is equal to the export. And we can include our primary column sequence to generate the index can be the performance open transaction start on index what is the maximum value of index but only transaction close here index ఈ వాల్యూ ఫీచర్ ఉంటుంది ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ క్లోజ్ చేసి ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ క్లోజ్ అయిన వెంటనే ఇండెక్స్ ఆఫ్ డేటా డబుల్ ఈ వాల్యూ తీసుకొని మనం వేరియబుల్ అప్లై పెట్టాలి నెక్స్ట్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఏం చెప్పాలి డేటా తీసుకుంటాం అది ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ సో ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ తెలియని ప్రాబ్లం అందుకనే మిడిల్ లేయర్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ కూడా ఒక ఇంపార్టెంట్ ప్రాసెస్ వాళ్ళు మాత్రం పని చేస్తారు ఎందుకంటే బడ్జెట్ అంటారన్నమాట latest version of automatic search. It takes the highest precision. When you give the data, it adjusts the only number to be back arrow carefully in equation. Right. Just info at the rate size the ID card number the compression of the export will be mass student you can catch you ID card is తీసుకోలేదు నా స్టూడెంట్స్ కనుక ఒకసారి సిగ్నల్ నాకు ఒకసారి అడగండి లేదంటే మీరు నాకు మీ ఫ్రెండ్ ఎవరు ఉన్నారు ఆయన పేరు వెంకట రిఫరెన్స్ ఆఫ్ వెంకట పంపించినట్టు No, because once you resume send, you check your name along the finished are already there. No, don't mention. If you mention all this company doesn't consider any percentage. You can mention. You can give us fully pressure. డేటా మెసేజ్ అంటే మీరు డౌన్లోడ్ కరెక్ట్గా అయ్యి ఉండదు చెక్ చేసి ఎక్స్ట్రాక్ట్ చేశారు కానీ మీకు ఒక్కొక్కసారి డౌన్లోడ్ అవుతున్నప్పుడు దాంట్లో ఎవరైనా ఫైల్ తీసుకోవడం ఛాన్స్ వేరే వాళ్ళు మొత్తం మీకు ఆల్రెడీ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకుని ఫస్ట్ తీసేయాలి తీసేసి అప్పుడు వేసుకోవాలి Okay. Yes, yes. Okay. One thing I'll tell you, you just give your mega details. I'll see that the videos are shared. I'll walk you.